Commander Zyax Theta floated in the observation deck of the Galactic Unity vessel Harmony's Grace. His 6 tentacles rippled with nervous energy as he watched the experimental portal generator hum to life. The machine stood 3 stories tall, covered in crystalline panels that pulsed with otherworldly light. Energy levels stable at 90%, announced tech specialist Quorum, her feathered crest fluttering with excitement. The small avian being's fingers danced across holographic controls, portal matrix forming within expected parameters. The Galactic Unity had spent centuries perfecting this technology. Their goal was simple: create stable wormholes for instant travel across the galaxy. No more years-long journeys between star systems. No more isolation between member species. Today marked the first full-scale test. Zyax Theta's species, the Vorthak, had evolved in the gentle oceans of their homeworld. Like most Unity members, they came from what humans would later call garden worlds, planets with mild climates, low gravity, and peaceful ecosystems. The biggest predator on his planet was about the size of a house cat. Beginning dimensional breach in 3, 2, 1, Quorum's voice echoed through the chamber. The portal generator roared to life. A tear in reality opened at its center, starting as a pinprick of absolute darkness before expanding into a swirling vortex 10 meters wide. Colors that had no names danced at its edges. The assembled scientists and military officers pressed closer to the reinforced viewing windows. Magnificent, breathed Science Director Yillith, her crystalline form chiming softly. We're actually punching through dimensional barriers. Do you realize what this means? We could access parallel universes, alternate realities, perhaps even dash. A warning klaxon cut through her words. Red lights bathed the observation deck. Energy spike detected. Quorum's voice cracked with panic. Something's interfering with the portal matrix. Power consumption increasing exponentially. The portal began to pulse and writhe like a living thing. Lightning crackled from its edges, scorching the generator's housing. The carefully controlled experiment was spiraling out of control. Shut it down, Zyax Theta commanded, his tentacles gripping the railing. Emergency protocols now. But it was too late. The portal exploded outward, growing to fill nearly the entire testing chamber. Through the swirling chaos, shapes began to emerge. Dark, angular shapes that moved with predatory grace. The first human stepped through. To the assembled aliens, the creature was a nightmare made flesh. It stood on only 2 legs, a precarious, unstable design that somehow moved with terrifying efficiency. Its forward-facing eyes locked onto the observation window with the focused intensity of an apex predator. Dense muscle rippled beneath its strange protective clothing. More humans followed, dozens of them, all wearing matching uniforms marked with symbols the universal translator couldn't parse. They moved in perfect formation, weapons raised, scanning the chamber with practiced efficiency. By the 7 suns, whispered someone behind Zyax Theta. What have we done? The lead human, identifiable by additional markings on its uniform, barked orders in a harsh, guttural language. The universal translator struggled before finally producing words. Secure the area. I want a full tactical assessment in 30 seconds. Rodriguez, check those readings. Kim, establish a perimeter. Nobody moves until we know where the hell we are. The humans spread out with military precision. One of them approached a console near the portal generator. Zyax Theta watched in horror as the creature's 5-fingered hands designed for gripping and tearing, danced across the alien interface with surprising delicacy. Emergency lockdown protocol activated, the ship's AI announced. Containment fields engaging. Blue energy barriers snapped into place around the testing chamber, trapping the humans inside. For a moment, everyone held their breath. Surely these primitive bipeds couldn't breach military-grade containment. The lead human examined the energy barrier, then spoke into a device on its wrist. Captain Chun to all units. We've got some kind of energy prison. Looks alien. Thompson, you still got those breach charges from the Mars operation? Always prepared, Captain, another human responded, patting a pack on its back. ZYX Theta's hearts, all three of them, skipped a beat. Breach charges? These creatures carried explosives as standard equipment? Wait, Science Director Yilith said, her crystalline form pulsing with realization. The portal's still active. It's drawing power from somewhere else, somewhere on the other side. As if responding to her words, more figures emerged from the portal. But these weren't more soldiers. They wore different uniforms, white coats that the translator identified as scientific attire. They pushed wheeled containers filled with equipment. Excellent work securing the area, Captain, one of the newcomers said. A female human with gray-streaked hair tied back in a severe style. I'm Dr. Sarah Chun. Yes, relation, don't start from the portal project. What's our situation? Unknown alien facility. Doctor, energy barriers have us contained, but we can breach if necessary. No immediate threats detected, though. Captain Chen gestured at the observation window. We have an audience. Dr. Chen looked up, meeting ZYX Theta's gaze directly. The commander felt his chromatophores involuntarily shift to camouflage patterns, a vestigial fear response his species hadn't used in millennia. Fascinating, Dr. Chen murmured. First contact protocol, Captain. Let's try not to start an interstellar war on day one. Ma'am, with respect, they imprisoned us first, and we did appear uninvited in their facility. Specialist Kim, can you interface with their systems? I want to know everything about where we are. The human designated as Kim approached another console. Within moments, streams of data flowed across the screens. The ease with which these Deathworlders adapted to completely alien technology sent waves of unease through the observation deck. Commander, Quorum's voice shook. They're accessing our primary data networks. Our encryption means nothing to them. They're learning about us. Everything about us. On the chamber floor, Dr. Chun studied a handheld device. Incredible. This facility belongs to something called the Galactic Unity. Peaceful confederation of 37 species. She paused, her expression unreadable. Their military protocols classify any species from a type, 12 or higher world, as extreme hazard. What's Earth-rated? Captain Chen asked. Type 19. Off their scale entirely. A low whistle came from one of the soldiers. No wonder they looked terrified. ZYX Theta forced himself to activate the communication system. His voice trembled as he spoke. Unknown beings, this is Commander ZYX Theta of the Galactic Unity. You have entered our space through an experimental portal. We mean you no harm. Please stand down your weapons. The humans exchanged glances. Dr. Chun stepped forward, looking directly at the observation window. Commander ZYX Theta, I'm Dr. Sarah Chun, representing Earth and humanity. We apologize for the intrusion. Our own experiments in dimensional travel seem to have intersected with yours. We're scientists and explorers, not invaders. Then why? ZYX Theta couldn't keep the fear from his voice. Do you travel with so many soldiers? Dr. Chen's expression shifted to something the translator suggested might be embarrassment. Well, Commander, where we come from, it's unwise to explore unknown territory without protection. We've learned that lesson the hard way. Captain, one of the soldiers called out, portal's destabilizing. If we're leaving, it needs to be soon. Doctor, Captain Chen looked to his relative. We can't leave yet, Dr. Chen said firmly. This is the discovery of the millennium. Actual aliens, faster-than-light technology, an entire galactic civilization we knew nothing about. We need to establish proper contact. The portal won't hold much longer, the soldier insisted. 5 minutes, maybe 10. Dr. Chun turned back to the observation window. Commander ZYX Theta, I propose an exchange. A few of our people stay here to help stabilize the portal from this side, while some of your people come with us to Earth. Proper diplomatic channels, cultural exchange, the works. The observation deck erupted in panic chatter. Visit a death world? Walk among predators that considered explosive devices standard equipment? The very thought sent several species into shock responses. But ZYX Theta looked at the humans below. Despite their terrifying appearance and military bearing, they hadn't actually harmed anyone. They'd even asked permission before potentially leaving. Maybe, just maybe, these Deathworlders could be reasoned with. I, I will consider your proposal, HFY Stories managed. But first, you must agree to contain your weapons. The sight of them is causing severe distress among my crew. Captain Chun and Dr. Chun exchanged another look. Some silent communication passed between them, probably a predator thing. HFY thought with a shudder. We can agree to that, Dr. Chin said. Captain, all units, weapons to safety position. No threatening moves. Captain Chin's voice carried absolute authority. The soldiers immediately complied, though HFY noticed they still maintained defensive positions. The portal flared brighter. More equipment came through, complex machinery that the humans immediately began assembling. We're establishing a quantum anchor, Dr. Chin explained, her hands flying over a human interface. Should stabilize the connection long enough for proper negotiations. HFY's aide whispered urgently in his ear. Commander, Fleet Admiral Korath is demanding answers. The entire sector is going to full alert. They're detecting massive energy readings. Of course they were. Trust humans to make first contact a fleet-wide emergency. But as HFY watched the Deathworlders work with their impossible efficiency, a thought struck him. If these creatures were hostile, they would have attacked immediately. Instead, they talked. They negotiated. They even showed concern for the Unity's comfort. Maybe the real chaos wasn't the humans themselves, but what they represented, proof that the galaxy was far more dangerous and far more wonderful than the Unity had ever imagined. Tell the Fleet Admiral, HFY said slowly, that we've made contact with a new species, one that doesn't fit any of our classifications. And tell him. He paused, watching Dr. Chun enthusiastically examine readings while Captain Chun kept protective watch. Tell him everything is about to change. The Galactic Unity Council chamber had never seen such chaos. Representatives from all 37 member species filled the vast spherical room, their voices creating a cacophony that overwhelmed even the advanced translation systems. At the center, Fleet Admiral Korath's massive insectoid form towered over the holographic display, showing the human visitors. Order! I demand order! Korath's mandibles clicked sharply, the sound amplified throughout the chamber. We will discuss this crisis with a dignity befitting the Unity. The noise gradually subsided, though nervous energy still crackled through the air like electricity. Every representative had received the same shocking reports. Deathworlders from a type, 19 planet had somehow been summoned into their space. The implications were staggering. The humans have been contained in Science Station 7 for 6 hours. Korath began, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic images. During this time, they have shown remarkable restraint. However, their mere presence has caused 14 medical emergencies among the station staff. Medical emergencies? Representative Phylix of the Etherian Collective chimed, her gaseous form swirling with agitation. What did these monsters do? Korath paused, seemingly embarrassed. They smiled, bared their teeth in what they claim is a greeting gesture. 3 staff members fainted. Another entered a catatonic state when one of them offered what they call a handshake, a ritual involving voluntary physical contact with their primary manipulation appendages. Murmurs of horror rippled through the chamber. Voluntary physical contact with a predator? The very concept defied understanding. Meanwhile, aboard Science Station 7 Dr. Sarah Chun sat across from Commander HFY in what the aliens optimistically called a diplomatic suite. The chair clearly wasn't designed for human anatomy, but she may do. Captain Chun stood near the door, relaxed but alert, a posture that had taken years of military training to perfect. Your people seem frightened of us, Dr. Chun observed, setting down the cup of what passed for tea in Unity space. It tasted like grass clippings mixed with soap, but she smiled appreciatively anyway. I understand we're quite different from what you're used to. HFY's tentacles writhed nervously. Dr. Chun, you must understand. Your species exhibits every trait we associate with extinction-level predators. Forward-facing eyes for tracking prey. Endurance-based hunting capability. You consume other living beings for sustenance. The fact that you're also sapient is unprecedented. We're omnivores, actually, Dr. Chun corrected gently. We eat plants too. That somehow makes it worse, ZYX Theta admitted. Our xenobiologists theorize that a species capable of surviving on multiple food sources would be even more adaptable, more dangerous. Captain Chen shifted slightly, drawing ZYX Theta's attention. The alien commander's coloration immediately shifted to blend with the wall behind him, an involuntary fear response. Sorry, Captain Chen said. I'll try to move more slowly. It's quite all right. I'm learning to control the response. Your species is remarkably observant. Comes with the territory, Dr. Chun said. On Earth, the creatures that aren't observant don't last long. Back in the testing chamber, the rest of the human contingent had transformed the space into a makeshift operations center. Specialist Kim had somehow convinced the Unity's computers to display human interfaces alongside alien ones. Engineers worked to stabilize the portal while scientists collected every scrap of data they could. This is incredible, Dr. Martinez, a theoretical physicist, muttered as he reviewed readings. Their FDL technology doesn't violate causality at all. They literally fold space-time like origami. We've been thinking about it all wrong. Less amazing science, more portal stability, Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. We're down to 60% coherence. Working on it, Dr. Martinez replied. Thompson, hand me that quantum stabilizer. No, the other one. The one that looks like a coffee maker had a baby with a disco ball. Private First Class Thompson, barely out of basic training and still adjusting to the reality of actual aliens, carefully passed over the requested device. Sir, do you think they'll let us go home? They're not keeping us prisoner, Thompson, Lieutenant Rodriguez assured him. We're guests. Heavily monitored guests who accidentally invaded their space, but guests nonetheless. Besides, Dr. Martinez added, not looking up from his work, have you seen how they react when we sneeze? They'd probably pay us to leave if we asked. In the council chamber, the debate raged on. We should send them back immediately, screeched Representative Vilnak of the Ivorian Federation, her feathers ruffled in distress. Before more of them come through. And waste this opportunity, countered Science Minister HFY Stories, gelatinous body quivering with excitement. They've achieved dimensional travel. Think of what we could learn. They accessed our secure databases in minutes. They adapt to our technology faster than some of our own trainees. If they decided to conquer us, they'd have done it already, a new voice interrupted. All eyes turned to Elder Zeph Nix of the Ancient Conclave. The being rarely spoke in council sessions, preferring to observe with the wisdom of millennia. When the elder did speak, everyone listened. These humans, Zeph Nix continued, multiple eye stalks focusing on the hologram, possess capabilities that should terrify us. Yet they attempt diplomacy. They express curiosity about our culture. They even apologize for causing distress. Consider, what does it say about their world that such dangerous beings develop concepts like courtesy and scientific cooperation? It says their world is even more dangerous than we thought, Vilnak shot back. They needed to develop civilization just to survive each other. On Science Station 7, unaware of the political storm their presence had caused, the humans continued working. Dr. Chen had managed to establish a rapport with several brave Unity scientists who'd overcome their fear long enough to collaborate. Your periodic table has elements we've only theorized, Dr. Chen explained to a fascinated quorum. The avian scientist had discovered that humans, despite their terrifying appearance, became significantly less frightening when discussing science. And this dark matter manipulation technology, we've been trying to crack that for decades. You've only had dimensional travel for decades. Quorum chirped in surprise. But your technology seems so advanced. Captain Chun, who'd been silent for most of the scientific discussion, spoke up. We've had a lot of motivation to advance quickly. Earth's a dangerous place. We've had to get clever to survive. What kind of dangers? ZYX Theta asked, immediately regretting the question as both humans exchanged meaningful looks. Well, Dr. Chan began carefully. We have weather systems that can level cities. earthquakes that reshape coastlines, volcanic eruptions that can affect global climate. And that's just the planet itself. The wildlife's the real challenge, Captain Chen added. Venomous creatures, pack predators, microscopic organisms that can kill in days. We've got one animal, the mosquito, that's responsible for more human deaths than all our wars combined. ZYX Theta's chromatophores cycled through several alarmed color patterns. And you consider this normal? It's home, Captain Chen shrugged. You adapt or you die. Humanity chose to adapt. An urgent chime interrupted them. Quorum's feathers flattened in alarm as she read the incoming message. Commander, the Council has reached a decision. They're sending a full fleet contingent. Admiral Korith wants the humans relocated to Quarantine Station Omega until proper protocols can be established. Quarantine? Dr. Chun frowned. We're not sick. It's not that kind of quarantine, ZYX Theta explained reluctantly. It's where we contain potential threats until they can be properly assessed. It's not comfortable. Captain Chen's posture shifted subtly. Every Unity member in the room instinctively backed away. Define not comfortable. Isolation chambers. Minimal contact. Study through observation barriers. It's how we handle dangerous specimens. Beings. Dangerous beings. I see. Captain Chen's voice remained perfectly calm, which somehow made it more frightening. He activated his wrist communicator. All units, prepare for potential hostile action. Defensive positions only. I repeat, defensive only unless directly threatened. The response was immediate. Throughout the testing chamber, humans shifted into combat readiness with an efficiency that made ZYX Theta's heart skip. They didn't draw weapons or make aggressive moves, but suddenly, the scattered scientists and soldiers had become a cohesive unit ready for action. Please, ZYX Theta pleaded, don't do anything rash. The fleet won't arrive for hours. We have time to find another solution. We're not going into cages, Captain Chun stated flatly. We came here by accident. We've been nothing but cooperative, and we're not specimens to be studied. Dr. Chun placed a calming hand on her cousin's arm. What Captain Chun means is that we're hoping for a diplomatic solution. Surely the Council can see that treating us like prisoners will only damage future relations between our species. You assume they want future relations, Quorum said quietly. Many in the Council want to seal the dimensional breach and pretend this never happened. That's not an option, Dr. Chen replied. Even if you send us back, we know you're here now. Humanity has never been good at leaving mysteries unsolved. We'll find a way back, probably with a lot more people and a lot less patience for diplomacy. The implicit threat hung heavy in the air. Not a threat of violence, but something potentially worse, the promise of inevitable contact with a species the Unity wasn't prepared to handle. In the testing chamber, Private Thompson approached Lieutenant Rodriguez. Sir, the portal's looking unstable. Really unstable. Rodriguez checked the readings and cursed. It's deteriorating faster than expected. We've got maybe 2 hours before it collapses completely. Can we stabilize it? Not from just this side. We need equipment from Earth. Or, Rodriguez glanced at the alien technology surrounding them. Or we need their help. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The humans needed Unity technology to maintain their way home, while the Unity wanted nothing more than for them to leave. It was a diplomatic powder keg waiting for a spark. That spark came in the form of Specialist Kim's excited shout from across the chamber. I found something. Their database has information about other dimensional breaches. We're not the first. Every human in the chamber turned to look at her. So did every surveillance device, relaying the information to increasingly panicked Unity officials. Explain, Dr. Chun ordered, her scientific curiosity overcoming diplomatic caution. According to these records, the Unity has detected 17 other dimensional incidents in the past 1,000 years. Most were just energy signatures, but 3 resulted in actual matter transfer. Small objects mostly, but one. Kim's eyes widened. One was biological. About 50 years ago. What happened to it? Captain Chen asked, though his tone suggested he already suspected the answer. Quarantine Station Omega. Studied for 6 months. Then, the records get classified. Really classified. I can't crack the encryption. The humans exchanged glances. The implication was clear. Whatever had come through before hadn't survived the Unity's idea of study. Right, Captain Chen said. Change of plans. Dr. Chen, how long do you need to download everything useful from their databases? That's theft. ZYX Data protested. It's insurance, Captain Chen corrected. We share knowledge freely with those who treat us as equals. Those who want to cage us get nothing. The standoff had begun. 37 peaceful species faced a handful of humans, and everyone involved knew who held the real power. The Deathworlders might be outnumbered 1,000,000 to 1, but numbers meant nothing when your opponents were too terrified to fight. In the council chamber, Elder Zeph Nix watched the situation deteriorate with something approaching amusement. Fascinating. They've been here less than a day and already exposed every flaw in our society. Our fear of the different. Our assumption that peaceful means weak. Our complete inability to handle any species that doesn't fit our narrow definitions. This isn't the time for philosophy. Admiral Korath buzzed angrily. We have a situation spiraling out of control. No, Sepnik's directive. We have an opportunity disguised as a crisis. These humans could have destroyed the station. Instead, they're trying to preserve their way home while establishing diplomatic contact. They're showing more wisdom than this entire council. They're predators. They're people, Zeph Nix said firmly. Different people. Dangerous people, perhaps. But people nonetheless. And if we can't learn to deal with dangerous people, what happens when we meet truly hostile species? The question hung in the air like a weight. The Unity had existed for millennia in a bubble of peaceful coexistence, never imagining that intelligence could develop on worlds they deemed uninhabitable. Now that bubble had burst, and they had to decide, adapt or hide. Back on Science Station 7, that decision was being made for them. The humans had established a defensive perimeter around the portal equipment. They hadn't threatened anyone, hadn't drawn weapons, but their intent was clear. They were leaving on their own terms. Commander, Dr. Chun addressed ZYX Theta directly. I want you to know that we don't hold your people's fear against you. From your perspective, we must seem like nightmares. But we're explorers and scientists just like you. We want to learn, to grow, to understand the universe better. That's what brought us here. And if your people come back? ZYX Theta asked. When we come back, Dr. Chun corrected gently, we'll hopefully do so through proper channels. With diplomats and cultural experts and people trained to make first contact less traumatic for everyone involved. You're that certain you'll return? Captain Chun answered this time. Commander, humans have a saying, curiosity killed the cat. It means that sometimes our desire to explore gets us into trouble. But we have another saying, but satisfaction brought it back. Once we know something's out there, we can't help but investigate. It's who we are. The portal flared, its edges beginning to fray. Time was running out. In the council chamber, arguments raged about whether to let the humans leave or try to contain them. On the station, two species faced each other across a gulf of evolution and understanding. And somewhere in between, the future of interstellar relations hung in the balance, waiting for someone, anyone, to make the choice that would echo through history. Fleet Admiral Korth's assault craft approached Science Station 7 with 30 Unity warships in formation behind him. It was the largest military deployment in 3 centuries, and every captain under his command was terrified. Not of battle. None of them had ever seen actual combat. They were terrified of what they might have to fight. Admiral, his tactical officer's numerous eyes blinked rapidly. The humans have made no aggressive moves. They appear to be packing. Through the viewport, Korath could see the station's testing chamber. The humans moved with efficient purpose, dismantling equipment and loading containers. It looked more like an orderly evacuation than a military standoff. Any response to our hails? They acknowledged receipt, but said they're busy preparing for departure. The one called Dr. Chen said, and I quote, "We'll chat in a minute. Just let me finish saving this data on your absolutely fascinating gravitational wave manipulators." Korth's mandibles clicked in frustration. These creatures treated the largest Unity fleet deployment in generations like a minor interruption. Either they were supremely confident or utterly insane. Given they came from Type 19 Deathworld, probably both. Inside the station, Captain Chun supervised the evacuation while Dr. Chun worked frantically to download everything she could. The portal behind them pulsed erratically, its edges becoming increasingly unstable. 15 minutes until critical failure, Dr. Martinez reported. Maybe 20 if we're lucky. We're not leaving empty-handed, Dr. Chen insisted, her fingers flying across multiple interfaces. This is the scientific opportunity of a lifetime. It'll be the last opportunity of your lifetime if that fleet decides to open fire, Captain Chen warned. He turned to his troops. Rodriguez, what's our tactical situation? 30 ships, various configurations. Energy weapons primarily, though I'm reading some kind of gravitic manipulation systems. No projectile weapons that I can detect. Their shields are impressive, but seem designed for navigation hazards, not combat. So they're not really warships. More like heavily armed science vessels, sir. Built for defense, not offense. I don't think they've ever actually fought anyone. Private Thompson, still nervous but adapting remarkably well to the situation, raised a hand. Sir, what if they don't let us leave? Captain Chun considered the question. Around him, his soldiers waited calmly for orders. These men and women had faced insurgents in Mars's tunnel systems, pirates in the asteroid belt, and even a few encounters with Earth's more aggressive wildlife during training. Peaceful aliens who fainted at the sight of human teeth weren't exactly intimidating by comparison. Then, we leave anyway, he said simply. We're not starting an interstellar war, but we're not staying as zoo exhibits either. Commander HFY Theta had been watching this preparation with growing amazement. The humans worked together like a hive mind, but without any apparent telepathic connection. They anticipated each other's needs, communicated with subtle gestures, and maintained perfect coordination even under pressure. It was terrifying and fascinating in equal measure. Dr. Chun, he ventured, approaching slowly to avoid startling anyone. The fleet is demanding your surrender. Perhaps if you agreed to some restrictions no cages, Dr. Chen interrupted, not looking up from her work. We've been over this. We're happy to establish diplomatic relations, but as equals. Your people need to decide if their fear is worth more than the knowledge we could share. What kind of knowledge? This time Dr. Chen did look up, her eyes bright with excitement. Medical techniques that let us survive injuries that would kill any Unity species. Agricultural methods that turned our death world into a garden that feeds billions. Energy technologies that harness the power of stars. Materials science that creates substances your people think are impossible. All of it yours to share if you can get past the fact that we have forward-facing eyes and eat meat sometimes. Quorum, who had been hovering nearby, chirped anxiously. But you're predators. How can we trust predators? You already do, Captain Chen said calmly. Your own database mentions the Kelrathi. They're carnivores, aren't they? They're obligate marine filter feeders. ZYX Theta protested. They consume tiny organisms in water. That's completely different. They're still predators. Just very small, very passive predators that you're comfortable with. We're simply larger and more active. The principle is the same. The commander's chromatophores rippled with confusion. He'd never thought of it that way before. The Unity had always classified species by threat level, not by actual behavior. It was a blind spot they'd never needed to address until now. In space, Admiral Korath received a priority transmission from Council. Elder Zephnix's ancient visage filled his screen, eyestalks focused with unusual intensity. Admiral, I'm invoking Emergency Protocol 7. Stand down your fleet. Elder, with respect, the Council voted in fear. I'm voting with wisdom earned over 3,000 years. These humans have shown remarkable restraint. They could have taken the entire station hostage. Instead, they're trying to leave peacefully while maintaining dignity. Let them go. But the threat they represent the threat of knowledge, the threat of growth, The threat of learning we're not alone in the universe? Yes, Admiral. Terrifying indeed. Zephnix's tone carried gentle mockery. I've lived long enough to see the unity stagnate in its comfort. These humans might be the challenge we need to evolve beyond our current limitations. Back in the testing chamber, alarms began wailing. The portal's deterioration had accelerated. Cracks appeared in reality itself, spreading from the dimensional breach like frozen lightning. That's it. We're leaving now. Dr. Martinez shouted. Everyone through the portal. Move. The evacuation proceeded with military precision. Soldiers grabbed equipment, and scientists bodily carrying those who moved too slowly. Dr. Chun clutched her data drives like precious gems, still trying to download more, even as Captain Chun physically dragged her toward the portal. Wait! ZYX Theta found himself calling out. What happens next? How do we contact you? Dr. Chun managed to break free from her cousin long enough to press something into ZX Theta's tentacle. A small device, clearly human manufacture, but somehow warm and reassuring. It's a beacon, she explained quickly. Quantum entangled with its pair on Earth. When you're ready, really ready, not just scientifically, but culturally, activate it. We'll know. How will we know when we're ready? Captain Chun, pausing at the portal's threshold with the last of his troops, offered something that might have been a smile. On any other species, it would have been reassuring. With those predator teeth, it was still terrifying, but ZYX Theta found himself appreciating the attempt. When you can look at us without fear. When you judge species by their actions, not their biology. When you're ready to join a universe that's bigger and stranger than you ever imagined. The portal flashed. The humans disappeared. And then, with a sound like reality itself screaming, the dimensional breach collapsed. The testing chamber fell silent except for the hum of failing equipment and the rapid breathing of traumatized Unity personnel. Admiral Kortha's fleet arrived minutes later to find the crisis already over. The humans were gone, leaving behind only questions, a small quantum beacon, and 37 species worth of shattered assumptions. In the council chamber, emergency sessions continued for days. Some demanded the beacon be destroyed. Others wanted to activate it immediately. Most fell somewhere in between, paralyzed by indecision and fear. Elder Zephnix watched it all with patient wisdom. They gave us a choice, the elder observed during one particularly heated debate. They could have force contact, could have sent armies through before the portal closed. Instead, they gave us time and the power to decide our own fate. What does that tell you about them? That they're patient predators, Vilnak squawked. That they're confident we'll call, HY burbled. That they respect our autonomy, Ix Theta said quietly. He'd been promoted after his handling of the crisis, though he still wasn't sure if it was a reward or punishment. They treated us as equals even when we didn't treat them the same way. Weeks passed. The Unity's best scientists studied every bit of data the humans had left behind, whether intentionally or through their accessing of systems. The knowledge was revolutionary. Solutions to problems the Unity had struggled with for centuries, new ways of thinking about physics and biology, even philosophical concepts that challenge core beliefs. The medical data alone saved thousands of lives. Human trauma techniques, adapted for Unity physiology, turned fatal injuries into minor inconveniences. Their agricultural insights helped feed colonies that had struggled for decades. Their engineering principles opened new frontiers in ship design. But with each advancement came the reminder, this was just what they'd shared accidentally. How much more could humanity offer? And what would the cost be to the Unity's sense of identity? The debate raged on. Some species began adapting human ideas into their culture. Others rejected anything touched by Deathworlder influence. The Unity, for the first time in its long history, faced a fundamental divide. Through it all, the beacon sat in a maximum security vault, waiting. Sometimes Vix Theta would visit it, turning the small device over in his tentacles. Such a simple thing to represent such a momentous choice. One day, Quorum joined him in the vault. The avian scientist had been profoundly changed by her brief interaction with humans. Her research had taken on new directions, inspired by their unconventional thinking. I've been running simulations, she said without preamble, about what happens if we never activate it. And they'll come anyway. Maybe not this year or next, but eventually. They're too curious not to. And when they do come, it'll be on their terms, not ours. The beacon isn't really a choice of whether we'll meet again. It's a choice of how. HFY Theta's chromatophores shifted thoughtfully. You think we should activate it? I think we should become worthy of activating it. The humans were right. We're not ready. We judge by biology, not character. We fear the different instead of learning from it. But we could change. We could grow. Maybe that's what this is really about. Months turned to years. The Great Schism, as historians would later call it, reshaped Unity society. Some worlds embraced change, incorporating human concepts into their development. Others isolated themselves, clinging to old ways. But all of them grew, forced to confront their assumptions and evolve. The beacon waited. Scientists studied it, philosophers debated it, artists created works inspired by it. It became a symbol of potential, of danger, of hope, of fear. The small device that represented the biggest question the Unity had ever faced. Were they ready to share the universe with predators who wrote poetry, warriors who valued peace, and Deathworlders who offered friendship? 5 years after first contact, HFY Theta stood before the council once more. He was older, changed by his experiences, but resolute. I motioned to activate the beacon, he announced. Not because we're fully ready, we may never be, but because growth requires risk. Because isolation breeds stagnation. Because those brief hours with humanity taught us more about ourselves than the previous 1,000 years of safety. The vote was close. Closer than anyone had predicted. But, in the end, curiosity won over fear. Hope triumphed over comfort. The Unity chose growth over safety. The beacon activated with a soft chime. Across dimensional barriers, on a death world that bred survivors and dreamers in equal measure, its twin responded. The message was simple. We're ready to try. The response came within hours. Not through the beacon, but through every communication system in Unity space. A broadcast that somehow overcame every technological barrier, delivered in perfect translations for every species. Greetings from Earth and humanity. We're delighted to hear from you. A diplomatic vessel will arrive at the following coordinates in 30 standard days. Don't worry, we've had 5 years to prepare. We promise to smile with our mouths closed this time. Looking forward to a beautiful friendship. P.S. We're bringing coffee. Trust us, you'll love it once you get used to it not trying to kill you. The Unity had invited Deathworlders back into their space. This time by choice. This time as friends. This time, ready to face the chaos of growth rather than the safety of stagnation. The universe suddenly seemed much larger and far more interesting. Somewhere, Elder Zephynik smiled, were the equivalent for their species. The real adventure was just beginning, and in a small office on Science Station 7, Commander HFY Theta looked at the coffee maker the humans had somehow left behind. He'd been too terrified to try it before. Now, with shaking tentacles, he pressed the activation button. The machine gurgled ominously. Black liquid filled the cup. It smelled like danger and possibility mixed together, just like humanity itself. He took a sip. It was bitter, shocking, completely unlike anything in Unity space. It was also, he realized with surprise, exactly what they needed. Change, after all, rarely tasted sweet at first.